Hey guys, what's up? In my last video I mentioned that I was getting some new parts for the Ruckus. Finally got those in. I'm actually going to make this kind of like I don't want to say a mini series, but it's just going to be probably a few short videos getting produced every day or multiple times a day here over the next 3 days, 4 days. Reason why I want to do that over just one long video is this is going to be more informational than what it's going to be entertaining. So if somebody's clicking on this, say because they want to watch a Trail Tech tachometer hour gauge install, I don't want them to have to click on a 40-minute video and watch 20 parts get installed. I'd rather produce one 5-minute video, 10-minute video of very in-depth, good, detailed instructions how to install this to help you guys with your own ruckuses at home. So that's what we're gonna do. This first one is actually gonna be a Trail Tech tachometer RPM gauge. Reason why I'm doing that first is I've been kind of tuning my CVT more by feel and top speed over RPM, and that's kind of not okay. We'll get into that a little bit more once we actually dive into the video. Not so much CVT tuning, but just why having a tack is important. I'm gonna actually real quickly just kind of go through what each item is that I got, and then we'll start this tack install. When I go through each item, it's going to be very brief. When I do the install video for said item, I will go more in depth, why I picked that one, why I like it, what maybe an alternative is, whether it be nicer, cheaper, so on and so forth, just to help give you guys the best information that I can to help make your decision process a little bit easier. So we're just going to go one by one. I'm going to hold them up, talk about them a little bit. Trail Tech Vapor, RPM gauge, hour gauge. R6 tail light, genuine R6 tail light, not like a cheap Chinese knockoff. Super excited about that. It is LED, so we will be installing a LED flasher relay. I decided to go with this over the inline resistors. I want to be able to plug and unplug my lights if I need to, whether it be to perform maintenance or to do whatever I need to do. Maybe I decide that I want to go to a different light later on down the road, and the inline resistors just would have made it, in my opinion, just a little bit more of a pain in the butt. Next thing, keeping in line with the LED theme, got rear LED light, rear LED turn signals, so I had to get front LED turn signals, so that just made sense. Get rid of them nasty orange stock OEM ones. I got these in clear. The Ruck Shop offers them in orange, or I'm blowing my last, sorry, red, black, silver, and clear. I really didn't want an accent color on the front of it. I'm trying to keep this bike as clean and low-key as possible, so I wanted something that was going to kind of just blend in, fly under the radar. When you walk past it, probably really wouldn't even be able to tell that it was there or that it was out of place, but also serve, obviously, the function that it needs to serve. And then the last item I got was the Ruck Shop Stage 2 Airbox Delete intake kit, and then I also got the pair valve block off plate. I will go more, like I said, I will go more in depth on all of this, why I chose this one, why I may recommend this one or a different one. But for this video, just short and sweet to give you guys a taste of what's coming up, so that way if you want to install flush mount turn signals, or you want to install a Trail Tech RPM gauge, you can kind of keep an eye out for that video. What will also help with that will be subscribing, liking, hitting the bell icon so you get notified. Like I said, I will definitely cover these in major detail when we when we install them. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna jump right into talking about the Trail Tech, why I got it, why it's important, and kind of some of the features, excuse me, of this specific one. I'm unbiased to this Trail Tech brand. A cheap RPM gauge is a cheap RPM gauge. I got this one for 13 through the ruck shop. See them on Rolling Wrench for 12, 13. That was a different brand. These are all going to serve the same purpose, and that's to help you fine tune your bike. Going through some of the features on this guy, just in case you are interested in this one specifically. I don't believe all these features are listed on the ruck shop's page, which again is where I bought this. So going through some of those with you guys, it has 5 different modes, an hour screen that is not resettable. So that'd be like, say you're putting this on a dirt bike, that'd be like your odometer essentially. An hour screen that is resettable, that's for maintenance. So maintenance purposes. So say you created a regimen, you were like, I'm going to change my oil every 500 hours. That would help you keep track of that. A clock screen, I'm pretty excited about that. I know that seems a little dumb, but there's been multiple times that I've been on my ruckus and I've been like, oh, like, well, what time is it? And I have to stop, pull out my phone, and yeah, it's the small things in life. Of course, the tack screen, that's what we're buying it for ultimately, is the tack. And then a max RPM screen. That's great for if you have like a goal in mind of like, hey, like I want to hit 8,200 RPM. You can ride, not really worry about it too much. Come back, check, and see where you hit. One of the big reasons why I got this one is it offers 2 mounting options. It has a peel and stick method, which is gonna be like a double-sided tape method, and then it also has a screw in or bolt in method. I don't want the bolt in method. Reason being for that, I want this to be temporary. I'm going to go to a Trail Tech Vapor in the future. I just don't really feel like that should be my priority right now. There's other things I want to do. There's other things I want to spend my money on. This will do its job right now of allowing me to tune and know what my bike is putting out. So that's what I decided to go with. One last thing, why you should get a tack or RPM gauge, and then we'll jump into the install. You should get one of these even if you're not planning on doing any tuning. If you are going to keep your bike bone stock and you are just going to commute to and from work or to and from school or to the grocery store or whatever, in my opinion, you should get one of these. It's always a good idea to know what your engine's doing. Is it surging? Is it hunting? Surging, going up in RPM, hunting, going down and dropping in RPM and then coming back up. Is it running smooth? And then, like, just it's great. Trust me. Like, you want to know. Going into, I caught myself there. That's why I started stumbling, because I was about to go into mods. But going into mods now, this is great if you have a CDI install that overrides your stock rev limiter. You can kind of tell where your bike's revving at. You generally don't want to rev past like 10,000 RPMs, roughly, give or take a little bit if you're feeling risky. So in my opinion, you would never want to delete your CDI and not have a rev limiter anymore. Rev limiter is what keeps your bike from going past a certain RPM gauge, which can prevent engine damage if you rev too far past it. The rev limiter on these bikes I will put down below, but I want to say for the newer Gits it's like 8,200. But again, I'll put that in the, like, right down in here somewhere. So yeah, you want to use this if you have a CDI, so you can tell if you're over revving your engine. But also, this is great even if you do still have a CDI. I still have a CDI or a rev limiter. This will help you kind of fine tune your CVT transmission. I know that my rev limiter is set at 8,200. I didn't have one of these before I started my CVT tuning, so I don't know what I was getting up to stock, but I would be willing to bet that the stock CVT won't get anywhere near rev limiter. So what this will allow me to do is it'll allow me to play with my weights inside my variator a little bit and kind of do test runs, see where I'm at RPM wise, and then fine tune it, dial it in for the speed I want and within that RPM range. That got a little bit more into tuning than what I wanted to, but obviously, like, even though I think everybody should have a TAC, if you're looking into getting a TAC, it's probably because you're going to be doing some tuning of some sort. So yeah, I hope that answers some question, guys. I know I tripped up over a few things. I was kind of starting to get in my head ahead of myself on a few things. If you have any questions, like always, I always try to get back to people. Drop it in the comments down below. And without further ado, let's install this guy. Alright guys, so I went ahead and opened this guy up. It didn't actually come with the mounting screws or bolts to like hard bolted in or permanently bolted in. That's fine for my case because, like I said, I'm wanting it to be like temporary anyway. That way I can remove it in the future. But if this is something that you're wanting to get to be like a long-term thing, that might be something you want to look into buying separately, or possibly look into a different model that that offers those. But I'm gonna go ahead and put one side of this double stick tape on before I get over there, and it will set on like that. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Alright guys, so we're over here at the bike. I'm going to mount mine right here to the left of the little Honda logo. So I'm going to actually run my wires first and not fully mount it just yet. To do that, we're going to take the battery box off. If you've never done that, there's 2 screws on each side. You're going to take all 4 of those off. And then, little disclaimer before I get into this, I do not have OEM plastics. If you have your OEM plastic, you're gonna need to remove those. I'm sorry, I don't have a video on them, but a quick rundown on it. There would be a screw on each side coming through like where the front wheel is, and then I believe there's 4 gas tank screws, and then there's 4 or 5 screws under the seat, and then you would also need to remove your seat to pull it all the way off. So yeah, just a quick rundown on that. And then off camera, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this battery box. So at this point, I got my battery box off. I just ran this up over the handlebar for right now, just to kind of like keep it in place. And then if you look, I ran the wire down, and I'll kind of move it so you guys can see. I just ran it down behind the ECU here. And then regardless of whether you have stock plastic or like a tank cover like I have, you're going to want to follow this throttle cable and brake cable down, run it in the same channel underneath the tank, and then we're going to run it up and through here. So I'm going to go ahead and again do that off camera, and I'll finish it up with you guys right here at the spark plug. Nice, simple, quick, easy mod that will honestly change everything about your ruckus. Alright, so I got the wire from the TAC ran under my gas tank, and I got it back on the opposite side to this position. I removed my coil from my spark plug. It sets on, and you just got to give it a firm tug off. Remembering back to when I took my OEM plastics off, once you've removed your OEM plastics, the gas tank will already be free. You won't have to do anything to unhook it. I just had mine bolted in because obviously there's nothing else holding it on right now. Moving on, so we are going to go ahead and attach the end of our wire for our tachometer, and what we want to do is we want to wrap it around the spark plug wire, and you want to kind of, I don't want to say tie knots, but for your first wrap and your last wrap, you want to kind of like pull them through each other just so that way they don't come loose. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to start on this very back end here. So putting the spark plug wire on the back end of that wire, we're going to wrap it around once. and then leaving yourself a little bit of slack. Run that down through. Snug it up. So get that nice and snug. And then do wraps until you're getting close to the end. So we'll do our second wrap here. Third wrap. Fourth wrap. And then this last wrap, you're just gonna wanna cross them again, just like we did. So I'm probably, I guess I'll have enough wire. So cross again, like that, just like before we did to start it. Pull that in nice and tight. And already I can tell that pulled pretty nice and tight on itself. Everything seems good there. So we should be good. So we'll push that back on. And before we go and reinstall your OEM plastic or even your gas tank cover, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the bike up just to make sure that we're actually getting RPMs from it. So what this actually does is wrapping it around this wire. This controls when you're sorry, been a long day. This coil controls when your spark plug fires, and with that wire being wrapped around there, it can sense your engine RPMs and relay them to your unit, letting you know what they are. That was probably a poor explanation, and I apologize for that. But the low down and dirty is that's what it does. All right, so we'll go ahead and give her a start. And if you come over here and take a look, pushing 22, 21, 20, and then if we give it a little rev, those should go up. Awesome. The only question I have is, I guess this is like a little watch battery. It's supposed to keep track of your hours and your max RPM. I want to know when that watch battery dies. I want to know if I'm going to lose that. But anyway, squirrel thought. Yeah, this video is a little bit all over the place, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helped out. At this point, you would go ahead, throw your OEM plastic back on, your OEM battery box or just your battery box back on. I'm going to be leaving that off. Of course, obviously not my plastics because I don't have those, but my battery box because I'm going to be doing more electrical later on. So just for ease of access, I'm going to leave that off. But at this point, you would wrap up, throw everything back together, and mount your tack where you want it. So I hope that video helped you guys. I know there was a few times I kind of got all over the place. I'm trying to ease back into the whole YouTube thing. I've been away from it for a while. So if you guys have any questions or you need any clarification, please just let me know. Thanks, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.